Glad you're here and joining us today. My name is Quinn Brady, and I'm the project director for the Uplift Coalition, leading the SURF planning process for the Central Coast region. It's really my pleasure to welcome all of you today as we share time and space and an update on the project and take some time to get feedback from you on where we're at and where we're headed. Before we jump in, we may have some participants who need interpretation. So we're working out a little bit of technical issue on our interpretation. I'm just going to ask Lady if we're ready to open that up.
We're not ready yet, but
okay.
Por favor, déjenme saber quién necesita interpretación al español y yo puedo apoyar.
Okay, so as soon as we're ready with that, we might pause just for a minute to help with interpretation services. And I'm going to just wanted to start as we gather today from all different areas across the Central Coast region. We really want to acknowledge the land that represents the vast places from which we call home, the land that carries the heritage and culture of the Indigenous people of both federally and non-federally recognized tribes. Indigenous people continue to steward their ancestral and unceased homelands, which include all of our cities and open spaces that are the foundation for how our communities are built. We honor the Indigenous people's connection to these territories and respect the land on which we gather. As we live and learn on these territories, we are keeping in mind the decolonization and recognition that expands beyond these statements. Acknowledgement itself, what I'm doing now, is just a small gesture and only really becomes meaningful when coupled with authentic relationship and informed action, which is what we really intend to continue to grow here at Uplift Coalition. So thank you for taking a moment to acknowledge the land with us today that we're on. I want to turn to just a few quick housekeeping items. This is a really large meeting. We're so grateful you've joined from all around the region and the state. But we are going to ask you to stay muted for now until we are in the breakout rooms. And in the breakout rooms, there'll be an opportunity to connect with each other in a more meaningful way. We are recording this meeting so that we can share the information from our general session publicly. The breakout sessions will not be recorded. And we invite you to put your questions in the chat throughout the program. And we're going to get to as many of those in real time as we can. And we'll be happy to follow up as well if there's things that we don't get to. So many of us don't know each other yet. Many of you are familiar faces. Some of you have been with us since the beginning of the creation of the grant application a year ago. But please take a moment to help us meet you and help introduce yourselves to each other. You might want to change your nameplate to include your organization name or your pronouns, or make sure your full name is there. And please use the chat to share your name, your organization, and where you're tuning in from. And I'm going to encourage the Uplift team to do the same so that we can kind of see the diversity from all around our coastal region. While that's going on, I'm just going to give you a little overview of what to expect today. We'll take some time to introduce our growing team, share a bit about the project and our progress, and then really learn from your experiences on the Central Coast to inform our overall project. And then we're also going to share a bit about some upcoming community convenings in your area that we're really excited about. I'm so happy now to turn to my colleagues and partners and co-conveners from MBEP, REACH, and EDC to help welcome you to the discussion. Together, our organizations make up the Uplift Coalition, a 6-county partnership formed to attract investment and opportunity for the greater Central Coast region with the purpose of uplifting Central Coast residents. The initial SURF grant application involved hundreds of people from across the coast, and some of you were involved in the initial creation of what we are now implementing. I'm going to first turn to welcome Tara Goraya, Executive Director of MBEP, followed by Bruce Stensley, Executive Director of the EDC, and lastly, Melissa James, Executive Director of REACH. Welcome, Tara.
Yeah, thank you, Quinn. A good afternoon and happy summer, everybody. I hope you're enjoying your time in this nice, lovely, as it's beginning to get warmer in our Central Coast and right before the July 4th weekend. My name is Tara Goraya. I'm the President and CEO, as Quinn mentioned, of the Monterey Bay Economic Partnership. I'm very excited to be joined by my colleagues at EDC and REACH. We've been, as you all know, on this path for a year, but now it's time to roll up our sleeves and get to work, and we can't do this without you. So just briefly want to welcome you and thank you. I appreciate your time and joining us for today. And just know we'll be reaching back out to tug on your coattails to ask to help with other information that we need to gather to really make sure that we've included community and industry and government voices as we try to put together this plan in the next year or so. Again, thank you for being here, and I will kick it over to Bruce.
Thank you, Tara. Thank you, Quinn. Great to see you all. Bruce Stensley, President and CEO, Economic Development Collaborative. We're based in Ventura, Santa Barbara County area. So 2 or 3 real quick comments. One, just really excited to be in a partnership with REACH and Monterey Bay Economic Partnership. We think it's pretty cool that we've got this Central Coast 6-county thing going together, but there's a lot of work to do to try and figure out what we've got in common, what we don't have in common. And we are now finally at the point and getting the kinds of inputs from you and others to shape a strategy, an inclusive, sustainable, economic opportunity for all kind of thing moving forward. We haven't really done this before, but we're excited to do it. And that's all I've got. Melissa, it's to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tara and Bruce. Melissa James, founding CEO of REACH. Also just want to join my colleagues in welcoming you here today. Many of you, I see some familiar faces, have been along for this journey for the last year. I think we were probably at this time last year in breakout rooms just like this, developing the application. And so we've come a long way, but really it is the year ahead with all of you and deep engagement with community that we are thrilled to really be starting to embark on. Today and in the months to come. One kind of framing maybe statement I would make, we're going to get into a lot of where we're headed with the project, but as I think about the next kind of few chapters that we're going to be walking through together to get to the end of this phase of the project, we are going to be going through a phase of engaging deeply with people at the center, beginning, middle, and end of everything we do. We're in the people phase. Then we're going to be setting priorities together as a community, and then ultimately really a goal bringing resourcing to advance different projects. So just thinking about these chapters, here we are today, deeply engaging with people. And this is going to be a chapter that we're going to be in together for quite some time. So thank you for coming. Thank you for showing up. And we look forward to really getting involved in the conversation with you. A part of the people part of this project is really bringing our vision committee, our project team, and our northern and southern steering committees to the forefront that are the governance of our organization and the way that we're going to be moving forward in the months to come. So I am going to turn it now to Lady Freire, who is our project manager, to kind of walk through some of these components that have been put together in these last several weeks.
Thank you, Melissa. I'm not going to go in deep talking about how great all these people are, but just want to share this slide to let you know that we have a growing team of committed partners in this work around the region, including community outreach leads at MBEP, EDC, and REACH, administrative coordinators and fiscal agents, as well as consultants and contractors supporting us on project implementation, data collection, marketing, DEI consulting, and beyond. Thank you. Today, you will meet members of our project team, as well as member of the Deloitte team, one of our consulting partners, who are here for supporting on facilitation. And also, we also just want to welcome the many people from around the region serving on our Uplift Vision and Steering Committees. Hundreds of people were nominated in this process, and we were so grateful to all of you for your interest and engagement. And we are so grateful to the 34 individuals who make up our committees. If you are one of an Uplift committee and just want to take a second to wave or raise your hand, that will be great. You will see that is a really awesome group of individuals, and we hope you will take time to connect with those in your area. Thank you. Quinn?
Yeah, thank you so much, Lady. Seeing the people who make up our committees and our team really just brings me so much gratitude for the work that everyone is doing to lift this project off the ground and make it really meaningful for our community. So I want to encourage you to reach out to these people, to reach out to the committee members, get engaged, and continue to plug in. And I'm sure you know that you'll be hearing from us lots. I'm going to share now just a broad overview of the project, who we are, what we're doing, why it's important. For some of you, this is going to be a review and very familiar. For others, you've heard about SURF or Uplift a few times now and still have questions like, what in the world is SURF? and you are not alone in that. So we're going to keep sharing collectively so that we can build a little bit more awareness and understanding together. And then we're going to get into some project updates and spend time in conversation. The goal of our work is to meet communities where they are and address barriers to economic opportunity through a plan that invests in projects and bolsters sustainable industries and generates high quality jobs across the region. A key driver of this project is really to disrupt our usual processes of economic planning, bringing together deliberately inclusive community groups to be the co-creators of their own economic future. This work is going to feel different than traditional economic planning exercises, and that is because it is really meant to be different. A part of our work that we've been talking a lot about lately as a team is to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And we know that centering different types of voices and building a different type of power structure will require talking about economic development in different ways than we're used to, and leaning into different types of expertise, changing how we gather feedback, and prioritizing deep listening as a group. On the next slide, I want to share a little bit about the center of our work, which is a focus of equity, sustainability, and economic opportunity. This will serve as the North Star throughout our project. And this is the lens that really permeates all criteria from stakeholder engagement to governance to data collection. While there are many objectives that I will in the overall project, I'm just going to highlight a couple of these. We'll be developing an inclusive broad coalition that is already underway, really that both designs the strategies for implementation and creates a strongly collaborative community across our region of organizations and individuals that strengthen our own resilience. This is also really an opportunity that I'm excited about to dig deep into data. There's been a lot of initial work and funding to deep dive on industry and workforce analysis across the region beyond what has been done before. We're also developing throughout the course of the project a plan that prioritizes equitable access to high quality jobs and resources, and that will recommend funding for investments to grow sustainable industries. We all know why this work matters. On the next slide, it just highlights a few of the stark realities that are facing our community. These are not lost on anyone here. All 6 counties experience the extreme dichotomies of prosperity and poverty, with economic barriers that are nearly insurmountable to historically excluded communities. Over half of the jobs in San Luis Obispo and Santa Barbara counties pre-COVID were low wage, paying a median of $25,000 per year. Not to mention the real cost measure, which brings to focus housing and childcare and transportation, and about 1/3 of households fall beneath that. Almost 60% of the region's K-12 students are considered socioeconomically disadvantaged, and race remains the #1 indicator of outcomes dictating the economic prosperity of communities in Monterey County. The next slide will look and probably feel pretty familiar. These are the 12 constituencies that were defined by SURF as required stakeholders in the planning process. These constituencies from environmental organizations, local tribes, local organizations, disinvested communities, and business associations will be part of engagement for every planning table and every step of the process. And these are the groups that make up our committees. Speaking of governance, on this next slide, representatives of all of those constituencies make up the committees and the overall governance structure. Our governance structure works to break down silos and maximize the effectiveness of planning and implementation and advance conversations that generate systemic changes rooted in sharing power and centering diverse community voices. Our steering committees are representatives from each of those sector categories. They serve on sub-regional steering committees, and they come together as a regional steering committee, deciding on project direction, serve as a voting body, and they move forward implementation on projects. Our vision committee draws from the same sectors as well. They're a guiding body advising on oversight and strategy. We have many listening sessions and roundtables, which have just gotten underway and are coming to a city near you really soon. Issues will be prioritized based on data and research, community feedback, your thoughts, ideas, and desires and input from the communities. They might be topical, they might be industry-based, or they might be focused on a certain demographic. And our role as the project admin is really not to make decisions about what ends up being funded or what the plan looks like, but really to create a container to help support, facilitate, manage, and hold space for this collaborative governance structure to lead on direction and be the ultimate decision-making body. I want to talk a little bit more about what we're creating through this process. SURF has two phases: the planning phase, which is where we are now, bringing inclusive planning tables together to understand the current dynamics and develop blueprints for economic growth. This leads to tailored economic transition plans that will really be aimed at meeting regions where they are, and the implementation phase of recommending investments in projects and industries that build resilience, promote equity, and facilitate the overall transition to carbon neutrality. On the next slide, I'm going to talk a little bit about how we actually do this. Some of you, this will look familiar. You've been engaged in different points of this. So this is kind of a broad look at what we're working toward. We've been in this time of staging and setting up, living really here in the deep the past couple months, making sure we have communication tools and project partners in place before we can meaningfully move into this next phase of data analysis and community engagement. That's where we are now, concentrating on data collection, mapping of our region, and beginning to convene our community through listening sessions in small groups and industry-focused roundtables. This all will come together to inform our final phase, where we'll begin to bring together the strategies that define our plan, bring initial recommendations back to you as our community for refinement, and work with the governance committees to recommend investment projects. The plan we create through this process essentially creates both an investment roadmap as well as meaningful connection and collaboration across the region. Our process is more than just creating a plan to check a box or sit on a shelf. This is really an opportunity that opens doors to draw future state and federal funding to our area. And hopefully you will end up feeling more connected as a community afterwards as well. Lastly, I'm just going to share a few guiding principles. As I mentioned earlier, this is a different type of economic planning process, one that requires commitment to shared decision-making power, big conversations, tough decisions, and seeking out different perspectives. These are the commitments that we are asking of our team members, of our committee members, and you today, and across the course of the project. That we're all willing really to share time and lived experiences around the table as equal decision makers alongside each other to do the big work that it will take to move us forward. With that, I am going to hand it over to Alexis and Olivia, who are going to talk to us a little bit about your engagement in the process and take us through the next part of our day together.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Quinn. So as Quinn mentioned, each of you are key stakeholders in this process, and we as Uplift want to make sure that your voices are heard as members of our community. And so key reason why we're hosting these sessions is, one, to really understand your concerns, the challenges that you have experienced through your lived experiences, and other barriers that you've seen that might be preventing our community from addressing economic inequalities that we've all been seeing. And then also to use these inputs for the SURF requirements, which are part of the reporting and outputs that Quinn just walked through. And so moving forward, your inputs are critical, and they will be used as part of the regional plan, which will be submitted to the state, and also as a starting point for implementation and communication strategy within the Central Coast region. And with that in mind, want to caveat that with the fact that your input is largely anonymous. It will not be attributed to a specific person. Anything that is collected during this meeting is synthesized into broader themes. And so just want to flag that from a privacy perspective. And then I'm going to turn it over to Olivia to explain how to use Poll EV, which is an interactive technology that we'll be leveraging throughout this meeting. And so Olivia, over to you.
Thanks, Alexis. Hey, everybody. So Poll Everywhere you see at the bottom of this slide, it can be done on a browser or a handheld device. And when I flip to the next slide, you'll see what the question is. There's a QR code there you can scan. But you can also access via text or the website, and it should pop up right on your phone. I'm going to activate each of the questions one by one. We're going to do 2 questions to start out. So choose your phone or head to your browser. You can scan this QR code right here on the screen. You can do the text option, or you can head to the website, which is listed here on the screen as well. And you should see this question here. In a few words, can you describe what you think of when you hear the term economic development? And if you have trouble, let us know in the chat. We can try to troubleshoot with you. See a lot of responses coming in here. Every time there's a response, it's going to grow, and you'll see which words come to the top here. Jobs, community, growth, business, better. Quinn or Alexis, you see anything pop out to you all?
Well, it's
Yeah, this is really
constantly
great.
evolving. Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
cool to see.
So many
Thank you all so
participants,
much.
it's really cool.
So the words that are the largest are the most frequently used. So you can get an idea of what people, the commonality that people are naming here. So community growth, opportunities, jobs, new business, equity. Love it. Thank you so much for participating. This is going to be a really special tool for us to use throughout.
We can leave it up for a minute just so everybody can look.
Let's, if someone, Maddie, maybe if somebody could put in the chat the phone number for that you can text your word to. See a couple people in the chat there that might want to.
So it's up at the top there, 22333.
Oh, there it is. Awesome.
This is awesome.
Thank you all so much. Okay, I think we'll capture this and continue to use it, and this will be something that we're going to share out afterwards as well for everybody to understand, and it really helps us collectively define where our community is at in defining economic development, because it means certainly different things to different people who are in the space today.
So let me go ahead and activate the second question. You can stay on whatever QR code website and it should come straight to you. So this question is, do you think economic development affects you differently?
Do you think economic development affects you directly? Yes. A, yes, it affects me positively. B, affects me negatively. C, not at all. Not so many people feeling that. D, maybe, I'm not sure. Definitely have a strong 78% right now thinking economic development affects you directly. Thank you so much for weighing in. We'll just give it another second if anybody else is still on that thread. This is really important for us to understand as we move forward, to really get a sense of where you as our community see the work we're doing, and it's so many around our community have been doing for a really long time, both in and out of local government and philanthropic organizations and community-based organizations, how this work affects you, your personal life. Okay, thank you so much, Olivia. I think we'll capture that. And if you are on that link, you can continue to engage even as we navigate away from the slide. Is that correct, Olivia?
Yes, you
Yeah,
can.
okay.
We'll keep it open. The second question's open, so you can still answer that one.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. As you're still maybe engaging or putting your answers in there, we're going to turn to Alexis, who will help set us up for success on our breakout groups.
Thank you, Quinn. So as previously mentioned, today is really about creating a space to hear your perspectives, experiences, and inputs as we embark on this process of creating an economically resilient region in the Central Coast. And so to enable this, we're going to break out into smaller groups and discuss a series of questions that we've worked through. And each group will have a facilitator and a note taker to help capture your valuable insights. And then following the breakout groups, we will reconvene and briefly share highlights from each of the groups so that folks can get a sense of what was discussed in other groups or what were the key issues or topics that came up. And as shared on our core values slide, we just really appreciate your willingness to share your experiences, be open to others' experiences, and having a respectful view as you interact with each other. And so next slide. Before we move into the breakout groups, we just wanted to provide a preview of the 10 questions that we will be discussing in each of the groups. Don't worry, these will be available to reference again in each breakout group, and the facilitator in your group will also help keep track of this. And this is just so that we all are aligned on the types of topics we'll be talking about. And so the first set of questions focuses more on jobs and careers. The second set focuses more on people's vision for the future of the community, and it's more aspirational. Finally, the third set of questions in your breakout groups will focus on what exists in your community, or what are opportunities in your community that you might not fully be able to take advantage of today. And so we recognize that we might not get to all these questions. These are here to serve as a guide for the conversation in your breakout. And our hope is to surface some of the strengths and barriers to economic opportunity that our community faces as individuals, the businesses that employ community members, and the organizations that serve them. And so please share speaking time and be sure to make space for other members in your group. And so before we break out into groups, next slide, please. We have a series of 5 different groups. And so our ask is, when you see the prompt on the screen to select a breakout group, you'll be able to choose one of these groups. And we recognize that you may very well work across multiple groups or exist in multiple groups. And so this is just to select one that you either identify with personally or professionally for this conversation. And so when you see the option on your screen to self-select into one of the rooms, please feel free to select one of these 5. The first one is education and philanthropy. The second one is public sector and economic development. The third is businesses, employers, and workforce. The fourth is community-based organizations, as well as environmental organizations. And the 5th group is for community members more broadly. For example, if you don't feel that one of these other 4 groups aligns with your background. And then I also would like to flag that the 5th group will hopefully have translation services as well. I know we're trying to work through some challenges there. And so when you see the prompt, please select which group you would like to join. And a facilitator will be there in the group with you shortly. And then if you are having any trouble joining a breakout group, we'll have a couple of team members here in the main room to help you get to where you want to go. And also, once the breakout rooms are open, Kaylee or Haley, if you're able to open those, that would be great. If you do not see the option pop up on your screen to join a breakout group, at the bottom of your Zoom screen, you'll see 4 little squares and it says breakout rooms. And when you open that, you can hit which group you would like to join. So the 5 groups are listed there, and you are able to select which one you would like to join.
Minute for folks to come in. If you're like us, you might have got cut off mid-sentence, but we're so glad to have you back. I hope you had some productive, meaningful conversation. Thank you for taking the time to share your insights and experiences with us. We did not even talk about this in our breakout room, and I'm gonna give us the prompt right now for breakout 4, but we are going to take time now to just have a 1-minute share out from each group, and just a few key takeaways or some things that might have surfaced, some common themes from your group, maybe what you discussed or how the questions felt. And we're going to start with group 1. And so if there's somebody,
I think Melissa was going to go first. Yeah.
oh, sorry.
We have
okay.
someone who's reporting out that has to leave early, so I was hoping group 2 could go
Great.
first.
I love it. Okay, Melissa, group 2, please go ahead.
So Supervisor Curio is going to speak for us on behalf of the public sector and economic development.
And hopefully I took good enough notes. The one key thing that I think I got out of this group is that keeping jobs accessible and local so that our residents are staying within our community, but that piggybacks with the affordability of housing. So we're not pushing our residents out of our community because they can't afford to live where they're from. They have to move somewhere else. I think the other thing is rethinking economic development through collaboration, and making sure that it is a all-encompassing and connective adventure where it's not just one, it's not just the EDC, it's not just the city, it's not just the county, it's the community as a whole moving forward with a vision of opportunity. Paso Robles has some great aerospace and opportunities that they're trying to tap into. In San Benito County, we are one of the unique airports that has this through the fence FAA permit. So it's really tapping into your uniqueness of your region or your area, and then working together collaboratively and not against each other to bring jobs and affordable housing.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you staying on to share out in that way. Thank you.
And sorry, I have
definitely some common themes already. Yeah. Okay, we'll turn to group 1, education and philanthropy. Did you guys have somebody?
We're going to kick it over to Sean Quinn, and don't get mad at me. We were so talkative. We did not get to the third group of questions, but over to Sean.
Hey, you guys. Yeah, so we, so basically the theme that kept coming over and over again is that most of us would like a living wage, but that we really are attracted to the things that we do because of our passion and our commitment to helping others and community and all that great stuff. We talked about the ongoing challenges that existed before the pandemic, but are still there, systemic challenges, et cetera. We also talked about some of the challenges that keep coming up of the difficulties in terms of money, quite frankly. So in some cases, it's the ability, it's the having to dole money out. In other cases, it's not having enough resources to do the engagement. Frequently, our colleagues mention that they're doing great stuff, but they could do even more if they had more resources. So the resource limitation thing was there. And also another thing that kept coming up was this sort of tension and challenge of affordable housing and things of that nature for folks that are particularly in our sectors. Let's see, what else we discussed? We also discussed some of the ongoing challenges that we see, and those being related to long-standing issues, but also some of the new ones that have come up in the wake of COVID that we're trying to deal with. I think that's a quick summary.
That was a really good one. Thank you so much, Sean. All right, we'll turn to group 3.
Hey, it's Bruce Hensley. I was facilitator, but we have an expert reporting out. My peer and friend, Alma, you up?
Yeah. Wow. I was trying to pull all of our responses together and kind of summarize what we came up with, but a lot of it did come up with the first 2 groups, like the community moving forward collaboratively, that was our big thing about people, our colleagues, the community, but working together to find solutions. Then the last group had mentioned resource limitation, and I was putting that down, how some of us have, there's some missed opportunities because of the lack of staffing. Affordable housing and living, that came up. Quality of life is one I don't think came up yet, but we were talking about how we live here in the Central Coast and being able to live and enjoy where we do live. living in whatever I meant. I think, I mean, there was just so many great conversations, a lot of opportunities that were brought up. But I hope I kind of covered the stuff that we came up with in general. But yeah, please tap in or join in if I missed any major items that we wanted to mention.
Thank
I
you
think
so
we
much,
got it,
Alma.
Alma. Thanks,
All right,
rock on.
thanks.
Yeah, it was a great group, very engaged. Really appreciate you guys.
So great. Thank you, Bruce and Alma. All right, group 4, I'm going to turn to Chelsea Ruiz from group 4 to share out.
Hi. So I'm just going to look at my notes so I make sure I don't leave anything out. But we talked a lot about the agricultural nature of, this area and how that's a kind of like a cornerstone of the economy and some of the struggles and challenges that our farm workers have, especially those that don't speak English. And we mentioned that affordable housing was a huge barrier for them, and childcare also was an issue. Let's see, we also talked about creating more pipelines and opportunities to connect people with career pathways. Language was another big issue that we talked about and as a barrier. And so we kind of were thinking opportunities to kind of connect the people that have language skills or that have childcare needs with other people that can provide childcare and could provide maybe translation services, interpretation services. We also talked about funding for the arts and opportunities to improve tourism in the way of our wonderful Native history and culture in our area. But affordable housing was a big topic, as well as language.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Chelsea. Appreciate you sharing out. All right, group 5. Community
Well,
members
not
with
to be
Haiti.
competitive,
Yeah.
but group 5 was the best of all. Thank you all for your participation, the discussion, and I selected some of the participants. Sam Watkins, she's gonna do the wrap up. Thank you, Sam.
I'm going to do the best I can, and I didn't take notes, so hopefully this isn't just what I was thinking the whole time, because we really did have a great group. Before I finish, I want to ask, is Maricela receiving translation while I speak?
Yes, she is. Yeah, thank you.
With our group, it was very obvious that we recognize that a community cannot be a healthy community if the majority of our workforce is consistently struggling day by day to have affordable housing and good quality affordable childcare. It's something that we recognize that hasn't happened for a variety of reasons. People don't like change. Most of our communities have what are called the NIMBYs, the NIMBYs, not in my backyards. And those are often the most vocal people in the places where decisions are made. And so I think even Ken said it when he said it's time to do something completely different. We have to think outside the box. There's this thing called functional fixedness, and that's when you get used to something being a certain thing, then you're constantly thinking of it as only being that thing. And when we say, quote, affordable housing, we think of single family homes and condos and apartments, and it's time for us to think outside the box. We need to think about social housing, which can also have childcare on site. We need to, our communities are not going to live. I think our community is going to die if we don't have the workforce that holds up a community, and they're not going to be able to stay in our communities if they have to sleep in their car between rentals because they have to save up for their deposit. And these are our waiters and waitresses. And, California is supposed to be such an innovative state, and yet we have not been leading the way in a widespread manner. There are a lot of great programs that exist out there. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We can find what we need that exists out there and make it work, because what will really help is when our wonderful NIMBYs experience the positive outcome of change, and then they will advocate for it. But we have to kind of make it happen first. And then I was the one also that said, if any of our communities and cities like San Luis Obispo do not currently have rent control, it needs to happen. I don't know how we can force that to happen, and I'm a landlord, but it needs to happen. So I hope I captured some of what we talked about.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sam. Thank you all for taking the time to engage in these conversations and then share out about them. There's obviously so many common themes, and I know that we had a lot of people in there capturing notes and content and really getting to the heart of what you're sharing that we can use to inform our process and the projects that come from this time. So thank you for your investment in this time. I'm going to, in our kind of last 9 minutes, talk a little bit about the next steps of the project and some engagement opportunities that are coming up. And then at the very end, as we're kind of wrapping up in our last couple minutes, we're going to put up another one of those polls. And if you want to hang on and take the poll, we'll be able to gather some more of your feedback and ideas. Thank you. So some of the ways and things that we have coming up, we're going to have more community meetings, which Lady's going to share a little bit more in depth shortly. We are going to be having a lot actually of small group listening sessions and industry roundtables over the next couple months and into the fall. So if that is something that is interesting to you, we would love to connect with the groups that you work with to maybe host something or in collaboration with you. We'll be using all of those inputs to inform our regional plan and influence the state's understanding of the Central Coast economic development needs. We're going to have community surveys, essentially a poll happening. We're going to be sharing information out with you quite frequently and would love to have you helping us reach the people that you reach. Just as Sam was saying, oh, my headphones are dying.
We can hear you.
Okay. Not reinventing the wheel, but really leaning into the experts in these areas and leaning into the great work that you're already doing and partnering with you in this work. So as we put information out and community events together, we would love to partner with you on those. And as well as if you are already hosting a meeting that you would like Uplift to attend, we have project team members, as we shared at the beginning, all across the region. And we would love to come and co-create long-term implementation, community strategies and relationships in partnership with you. So please reach out. We are putting in the chat, or maybe it's already there. It's already there. Angelique just put it in, a link to a Google form where you can submit ideas, inputs, requests in that form. And that goes directly to us. And that's a really easy way for us to connect with you. And at the very end, we'll be sharing some contact information as well. I'm going to kick it over to Lady, who's going to share about some of the convenings that we have coming up in person.
Thank you, Queen. We are going to be doing some of the same listening sessions and community convenings during the next weeks and during the summer. I'm not seeing the presentation, but we're going to have 5 community convenings across the region. And for the listening sessions, we are connecting with small groups or partner organizations to create closed conversation within specific communities. And the most important part for us is that we have allocated an inclusivity fund where people can participate without getting aside other responsibilities. For every person who participates in our listening sessions or community convenings, they can receive a gift card for their commitment, their participation, or their willingness to share their experiences. And that's going to be for all listening sessions and for the upcoming community convenings. And we're going to have those community convenings open to the public. You can register in our website between the 10th and the 13th in July. We're going to be in San Benito, Monterrey, San Luis Obispo, Santa Barbara, and Ventura. So we will see you there. Help us spread the word. And yeah, just in the chat, Angelique, thank you. She put the link for the registration.
Yeah, thank you so much. I know there's questions about the location that is to be determined. We're just waiting on firming that up. So that'll be live on our website, and we'll be sending that out as soon as it's confirmed. And these are just a few. This is just one set of convenings. There will be lots more. We are happy to host smaller group or larger group things with you. So please don't hesitate to reach out to myself, to Lady, to anybody that you've met today with the Uplift team. We're looking forward to connecting and being in person with you and virtual as well. With that, we are going to, I think, Olivia, I know we kind of hopped this around, but we do have a couple more minutes. If you want to put up the poll and talk through that a bit, we can collect a little bit more insight from you right before we send you on your way.
Yes, so you can actually head back to the same QR code and let me know if you can, everybody can see this. My PowerPoint kicked me out, but if you head back to the same QR code, you can also do the text option. You can also go to the website. I'm going to activate our third question here, and it should pop up for you now. I have it currently activated.
Okay, just confirming people are seeing that. You can scan the QR code or text uplift to 22333 and it will send you the prompt to engage in the poll. We are curious about initiatives and efforts in your city or county that you would like Uplift or the SURF team in general to be aware of. This is a really important piece for us so that we can make sure we are connected with what's already happening. Feel free to pop your ideas in there. And you can continue to fill these out even after the meeting closes. We'll be capturing all of this. These are some great ones. Farm worker resource centers.
Here they come.
Society, housing infrastructure, parks, open space. Yes, Project Isabella pilot, Santa Paula. Early childhood education, awesome. EDC upskill. City of Goleta just adopted the economic development strategic plan and implementing in the fiscal year. SLO County public health efforts for through the first health equity team to fund a mixed TECO speaking resource navigator. That's a great one we're excited about in SLO County. We are the care. Great ideas. Thank you so much. You can keep going on this, and Olivia is going to pull up another question that you can.
If you want people to continue to be able to answer this one, I have to keep it open.
Okay, so let's leave it for another minute. Thank you, Olivia.
Yeah.
Make sure we capture anything that's being put in. I want to put my ideas in, but people self-help housing, free landlord tenant mediation services. That's a great one.
We have a steady stream, Quinn, so I don't want to move it until.
We're going to leave it open for a minute. Thank you so much.
Yep.
While this is happening, I just want to make sure I'm going to put in again, Angelique shared this a minute ago, but in the chat, there will be a link to register for the in-person July meetings that Lady shared about. If you want to capture that link, it is the Uplift website, so it's pretty easy to find as well. And would love your help sharing that out so we can make sure to really engage in the in-person meetings with more community members than are here today. We will have access to our Inclusivity Fund resources as well at those in-person convenings. So looking forward to helping make that possible for people, and we'll be able to share lots more information about that in the coming week. Thank you all so much for these inputs. How's it looking, Olivia?
It's still coming. It's one and one and one. So I'll maybe in 1 minute I will switch it.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you all so much for taking the time to share these with us. South County Triage Collective Impact in Paro Valley. Lots going on there. Ventura County Industry Council, Low Income Housing, Homeless Workforce Development Training. Great stuff. Housing Infrastructure Plan, received by REACH. YTT Land Back Conservation Initiative. Awesome. Thank you also.
Okay.
All right.
I think I'm going to activate the next one. So it
that's
should pop
great.
up.
And I know some people will have to start hopping off as we are exactly at time. If you want to stay on and take the next poll question, we welcome you to and appreciate your input. Otherwise, we'll continue to be seeing you at the upcoming events. And we're so grateful for your participation. If you want to stay on this, you can scan this again or text to Uplift to 22333. And we're looking forward just in a few words or a word, what you wish existed in the region. We got into a lot of this in our breakout room, so I know you have lots of ideas, and affordable housing is a big one. Thank you. Childcare, affordable housing, infrastructure options, physicians. This is great. We'll let this stay open as you want to answer and exit. We appreciate so much your participation and being here today. Thank you all so much. We're going to just let this continue to roll for a few minutes as people head on out. This is great. Thank you, Olivia, for keeping this rolling. Thanks, Sandy. Thank you all so much for joining in and participating. I look forward to seeing you in person in just a couple weeks for those that can make it. How's it looking, Olivia? People still rolling in with responses?
Yeah, it's still coming.
Leave it open. Thank you.
They're starting to slow down, Quinn.
Okay, great. We'll just give it another maybe 30 seconds and then we'll close the poll. Send people on their way back into your Wednesday. Affordable housing is just so much larger than everything else. It's a really stark example. Thank you. I like this 100% clean and affordable energy as well.
Huh.
All right. Thank you all so much for participating. Thank you for being here. We are going to go ahead and close down the poll, Olivia, if you're ready.
Yep.
And we'll just share our contact information. I think most of you should have it. The Uplift Coalition, our website and email address for you to connect with. And we look forward to seeing you again next time. Thank you all so much.